Hello everyone and welcome to Lina Knits episode 9. This is a podcast about knitting and yarn mainly. Occasionally other crafts like cross stitch and sewing and spinning. Very happy that you are here, whether you're new or a returning viewer. We just had the 100 YouTube subscribers and 100 Ravelry group members giveaway. I know there are a lot more of you now than just 100, and that makes me very happy. It's nice to know that someone is interested in what I have to say and what I'm making. And the prompt in this giveaway was basically to give me feedback on the podcast, and I just want to thank you everyone who wrote in your comments. They really mean a lot to me and I appreciate them. And they gave me a lot of new ideas, and of course it's nice to hear that you enjoy the podcast and that it's entertaining and maybe inspiring. So this beginning of this episode is going to be a bit chatty before I get to the actual knitting part, because I just have I want to comment on some of them, the issues that or ideas that people mentioned in that thread, because I didn't want to join in the Jaeger in that thread because I was going to draw a pattern winner, which I'll announce in a moment. I locked the thread earlier today, and so I didn't want to add in any of my messages there, even though I was always really eager to jump in and discuss the things with you. So thank you all of my viewers for your support and encouragement and ideas, and also a big thank you to all the other podcasters out there who have helped me and who inspire me and encourage me. I've had very many fruitful discussions with you on Instagram and on Ravelry via PMs or board messages, and I appreciate all the help and advice that you have given me. As you can probably tell, I'm trying yet another way of filming. This time I'm using just my phone. I tried earlier to do the episode with filming with my phone, which seems to be the best camera I have in the house at the moment, and then having a separate audio track, but I just could not get those to match up well. They matched up in some parts and then other parts were a complete mess. So don't tell my partner, but this one is just with the camera. So the audio quality might go down a bit, but I hope the image is now a lot better. At least it seems to be, the colors seem to be true, and the it doesn't get all mushy when I move. But I do have this very lovely, cute microphone, this blue snowball that my partner gave me for Christmas, and I would like to eventually have a way of using that and an external camera. So at some point in the future I'll probably switch it up again and invest in a proper external camera so I can plug in both to my laptop and film it that way. But this time it's just the iPhone. Yes, and then I'm sorry, just was thanking you and then jumped into this whole blather about how I do this podcast. I wanted to thank Jenny of the Tiny Paper Foxes, Gina of Brownie Knits, and Helen of the Curious Handmade podcast for all the lovely shout outs and lovely things that they said about my podcast. You guys are really awesome. I love your podcasts, and you inspire me to keep on going despite the troubles that I seem to be having, especially electronically. About the giveaway thread and the things people mentioned there, book and magazine reviews were requested by a lot of you, and yes, I will definitely do those, because that's something that I would like to see in a podcast. And I just realized while reading your comments that I talked about this year being the year where I tried to knit from the physical library of knitting books that I have, which is there behind me in the bookshelf. It's actually the middle row, the one that's the fullest. That's all my crafting books. So I realized that when I've done a pattern from a magazine or a book, I've shown that book and the magazine and maybe even the picture of that pattern from that magazine, but I haven't talked about the whole book or the whole magazine in a sort of review way. So what I hope to do from now on, and please feel free to remind me if I seem to forget this, is that if I do knit from a book that I physically own or a magazine that I subscribe, or if I get a new book or a new magazine, that I would talk about it as a whole review, it as a whole sort of. Of course, I'll insert my opinions if there is anything about the PDF patterns that I do use a lot as well. If I particularly happen to like something, especially, I like to mention the positive things. And that leads me to the other question or the other topic that was mentioned, was to give honest reviews and honest opinions. And yes, that's what I've been doing, and that's what I would like to continue to do. If I like a yarn, I will tell you. If I have issues with it, I will tell you what those are. Maybe you can help me deal with them. Or then just to let you know that I've had those issues. Doesn't mean you will have the same issues, but yes, basically whatever I say is my opinion. I'm not, I don't feel like I need to hype up some yarn or some pattern or some needle just for the sake of hyping it up or pleasing someone else. So please do trust in that. If I say I like something, I really, really do like it then. But like I said, I like to focus on the positive things and not dwell on the negatives that much. But of course, if I have a bad experience with something, I will share it with you, of course. Then what you were asking for was more stash acquisitions. That gave me a chuckle. Yes, I will be buying more yarn and I will show it on the podcast, but it just sort of had this image of me explaining yet another yarn purchase to my partner or to my son, who's actually my biggest critic at the moment, as necessity because of the viewers of the podcast wanted me to have something new to show them. Yeah, I know that's not what you meant, but yeah, just had this image. Yeah, about my son and his sort of intuition. Since I haven't told him anything about the podcast, I haven't told him that I do a podcast, and he's never seen me do it or seen any of my podcasts. But last episode I had that little glitch there where the first upload just sort of abruptly stopped about 5 minutes before the actual episode finished, and I had to redo it, and to make sure that everything was correct as soon as possible, I did it while he was next to me on the couch, and he was like, "Mom, that woman looks just like you." I was smiling a bit. He was then, "Mom, that is you. Why are you on YouTube?" And before I could even say anything, he was like, "Oh, I know. You're showing your knitting and your yarn and telling everyone how amazing everything is and how much you love knitting." And I was like, how would you know that? Because I was, of course, the clip that I was showing was just me talking like this in English, and he doesn't understand English that much, just a few words here and there. So it's like, how would you know that? And he's like, "What else would it be, Mom? It's obvious it's about knitting." So I guess he really does know how much knitting is part of my life and really part of everything everything that I do. So yeah, yes, I will be showing new purchases, and there was also a good reminder of mentioning more about the yarn, the content of the yarn or the fibers used in the yarn and how much yardage there is, which of course I should mention, but somehow often forget. Another thing you can remind me of. Then there was request about spelling Finnish names that I use. I think mostly the Finnish names that I use are designer names, or if I use Finnish yarns, then the yarn names are sometimes in Finnish. I will try to do that if they're not too long. Finnish words can be really, really long, so I think spelling them wouldn't really help that much. Everything is written down on the show notes. If something's missing, let me know and I'll add it there. So for the longer ones, or if you're not really catching what I'm saying, please refer to the show notes. All the show notes are in the Ravelry group with the thread for each episode, and I think that's the best place for show notes because that's the one where I use the internal links in Ravelry to the yarn companies and the other podcaster groups, patterns, designers. Show notes are also on my blog, which is linawrappedinwool.blogspot.fi, and that's another way to view the videos. I'll embed them here there, and then the show notes will also be there. On YouTube, the show notes are also on the down bar. And what else was I supposed to say? Yeah, those are the 3 places where you find the show notes. And the link to the Ravelry group and the my Instagram account are in YouTube in the channel sort of banner, and also you can find the links in the Ravelry group, and the Ravelry group is called Lina Knits, so just go to the group tag and search it there. And my username on Ravelry is LinaFin, and on Instagram I'm Lina Knits. That was an odd place to mention all of that, but we'll go with it this time. And then a lot of you understandably are interested in life in Finland and sort of the everyday moments, which is what I love about having found podcasts all over the world. I love about learning the little details of people's life, the everyday life in different countries. But it's a difficult subject, I think, because I don't think I could comfortably add in a sort of Finnish life section here, so I'll try to add them in wherever I have a chance or it's connected to something that I'm talking about or showing. I've lived in different places in Finland. My childhood, I lived in Eastern Finland in a smaller city. Then for high school and university, I lived in Tampere, which is the second largest city. And now for the past 12 years, I've lived in Helsinki. And I very much like it here. But it's not maybe the most traditional. Helsinki does have the largest population of any city naturally in Finland. But the way we live is not necessarily the way people elsewhere in Finland live, so I'm not sure how Finnish my life is typically Finnish. Of course, there are some things, but they might be so obvious to me that I don't realize to say them out loud. But what I'm trying to get with here is that the group does have members from all over Finland, basically. So if you have something specific you want to know about Finland or Finnish life in Finland, ask there, and then maybe me or someone else can answer, and we can have, someone said we could have sort of a discussion. Like last time I mentioned about how they don't leave packages at the door here, the mailman, postman. And then, so that was sort of interesting to hear how it works in other countries. So sort of that, we could always have discussions like that. And there is a question thread there in the group where you can ask me anything. Not sure I will tell you everything, but you can ask me anything. I'll either answer on the thread, or then if it's a subject that I think most people would like to hear, then I'll answer it here on the podcast. So you can always go with your questions there. Of course, you can also ask them in the episode-specific threads. You can start your own threads, you can PM me, you can message me on Instagram, anything. I'm really very open to questions and answering questions. Yeah, so that was one thing that I was happy to hear, is that you feel that the podcast and the group is welcoming, I think was the word that was used, because I do really enjoy interacting and communicating with you. This is one of the reasons that I started the podcast, is to have a connection to people all over the world. So of course I'm each one of you who's watching and participating on the boards, or just staying on the sidelines and not really jumping in on the conversation, I am interested in you and what you do, and how you think, and what projects you're doing, and what yarn you're using, and what yarn you love, what needles you love, everything. So and don't be afraid to reach out to me if there's something you want to say. And then there was sort of a request for more knit-alongs. My knit-alongs so far have been sort of not that strict. You can, for January, we had just for you January, where you could basically just jump in with whatever you're knitting for yourself. And then we'll have the finish of February, where it all works in progress before 2016 are eligible for, and that'll be my first proper call, yay! I'll talk about it more in the end. So more of that type of things, and that is perfectly fine with me, because that's my sort of mentality for the new year. I'm hesitant to join knit-alongs for specific patterns, so that's why I'm not having them on my group either at the moment. This might change. Nothing is for certain. Yeah. There were some questions in the giveaway thread that I will answer throughout the next episodes, but there was one thing that just a tiny fly here, that I thought that I could address now, and that's the correct pronunciation for sauna, which is what in English language you usually say sauna, which is what I tend to do when I speak English, but it's sauna. And that's something that's very Finnish. I think all the houses, you can generalize it this way, all the houses in Finland have a sauna. I live in an oldish apartment building that was built around 81, I think. So this one doesn't have individual saunas in all the apartments, but it does have a communal sauna where you can reserve your own slot. We haven't done that because I just don't like going to a sauna on schedule. But growing up, we did have a sauna, and I still remember when it was heated up every Tuesday and every Saturday. And I do like going to the sauna, and I do that every time I have a chance, which is mostly when I go visit my parents who live in another town. And if we stay the night, then I ask them to heat up the sauna, for us. So that's something that's maybe not typically Finnish of me, because I don't have a need for it. There are a lot of people who could not imagine living without a sauna. And also that pronunciation there. When I speak in English, I notice that I start the podcast by saying that I'm from Helsinki. But in Finland, in Finnish, you would call it Helsinki. So the stress would be on the first syllable, and the L isn't as strong as in Helsinki. Tiny difference, but I should really pay attention to pronouncing the Finnish words that I do use properly, just out of interest. Okay, So now on to some knitting finally. What I'm wearing today is a lovely sort of shrug slash cardigan, open fronted cardigan by Maylin of the Tricoterie Designs and Tricoterie Yarns. And this was a test knit that I did for her, but it's now published. It's been published for a while now. It's called Isomorph Lilla, and I used this is Aran weight, but I think the directions were for a lot of different ways. It's some math involved, but very easy. This is one of the patterns where you just knit and trust the pattern. So there were moments where I was like, what is this going to be? How is this going to turn into a cardigan? And boom, at the end, I went through the directions all the way to the end, and ta-da, I have a cardigan. So this uses 2 yarns, one main color, which for me is Gjestal Bris in colorway 130. This was the bamboo wool mix that I got from another Bravoro's D-stash. And for the accent color for stripes, so it has 2 different kind of stripes, one way horizontally and then vertically. And the stripy color, I don't have the color name, but it's Rowan Pure Wool Aran, and sort of just beige colorway. And I thought this pattern was so genius. See here, I ran out of the main color, the purple one, and I just continued the last few rows with the Rowan, and it looks just fine. So Maylin's patterns are very genius, and I can highly recommend you check them out. There's always just some little twist there, but they're not difficult to knit at all. I've done quite a few of them. Oh yes, oh my gosh, sorry guys, I forgot to mention who won the pattern for the giveaway trail. I talked about it for so long and then I forgot to mention who won it. So before I started filming, I did a random.org random number draw, and number I got was number 3, and that was a post by Sweet Pea, the lovely Gabriella. So Gabriella, please PM me your choice of a pattern and I'll get it to you as soon as possible. And once more, thank you everyone for the comments and for participating. Yeah, then I thought that instead of jumping to finished objects, I'll go first through the works in progress that I've done this week, because there's not that much to show. I've been working on my Atwood shawl by Nicole Clark of the Hugh Loco podcast and Etsy shop quite a lot. It's starting to be really large, so large in fact that I can't really show you it without dropping it from the needles. But this is the progress keeper. This is where I was last Monday. So I've now done the stockinette and pearl-rich body, and now I'm at the lace edging. I think I still have about 40 rows to go, and they're starting to be quite long at this point. There's nearly 400 stitches on this one, but I do think that I can get this finished by next week or during this week. But I'm not really, if I don't get it done by the time the call ends, then it doesn't matter. I still have a beautiful shawl to wear at the end. And I have been doing some progress on my partner's huge Farmer McGregor socks by LSU. Last week, I don't have a progress keeper here, but last week I think I was here where the gusset decreases end, and now I've done this much on it. I think 1 or 2 pattern repeats. So yeah, hopefully even with this slow pace I will get these done before winter ends. This poor man is walking around with wool socks that have holes in them, so he really does need them. But I had just for you January call in my thread, and then I'm not knitting anything for myself. Well, that's not entirely true, but that's what it feels like when I have to knit those socks. No, I like knitting him socks. I like knitting those socks. But then works and no, finished objects. I mean, I did finish one pair of socks, and these were the ones for my son. These are called Melukylän sukat, and these were from a book that's only available in Finnish that I showed last time that I don't have now. But it's just the basic vanilla sock. The cuffs, I did the stripes not according to the pattern, and I used the leftovers from my knee-high socks, the May Your Days Be Merry socks. These were, I think I mentioned it already, toe up, toe down, anyway, socks that you start from the toe. Where are all the words down? I really don't have a preference whether you start from the toes or cuffs, but I do have one grip about the toe up socks. Yeah, I know the this one used the Judy's Magical Cast On, and I know it's supposed to look like Kitchener stitch, like you'd crafted the ends together if you would have started from the cuff, but I nearly always get this pearl bridge there. It doesn't matter, it's a design feature, I call it, but I hate doing it. It's so difficult. Once I get the stitches on the two needles, knitting the first round, it's so frustrating and so difficult. So if you have any other ways of starting toe-up socks, I would love to hear about that and try them out. Or if you have some tips on how to make a Judy's Magical Cast-On sort of work better or be easier to do, I would also love to know that. I'm not sure if anyone else has problems with it or is it just me, but I do have problems with it. But now, yeah, the socks are finished, and then there's the Petit Bull hat by Joji Locatelli and the Spring Mini Mochi Springy Ring Mittens by Elizabeth Campbell. So all of these are matching, and I had a bit of yarn left over, so those went into mini skein swaps. But yes, my son loves these. He's like, yay, mom, I have green mittens and green socks. I didn't even block the socks because they were just so very basic, and he needed them immediately because it was last week. It was really cold here, like minus 18 Celsius or something. Now it's only -2 and it's snowing all the time. So I hear there are snowstorms in the east coast of US. I'm not sure if you could say we had storms, but we've had a lot of snow, and since it's not that cold, it's the heavy kind of snow. And I'm not sorry about my hair, it keeps flipping down from the braid. Yeah, oh, there it is again. So yeah, he did need the wool socks to be able to play outside with his friends. So those are yeah. And the other finished object, which is for me, is this Chateau wrap by Melissa Schaschwary. Just trying to find the right way up. This is the back, and on the front, this is what it looks like. So it's just sort of a open, well, it's a shrug, yeah. You put your hands through here, and then this sort of folds in on your back. It's a lovely piece to have during the colder months. I think I'll definitely take this to the office, since it sometimes gets really cold there, sitting on the computer at your desk there. Yeah, and then there's that mistake, which I noticed when I was blocking, that I twisted that cable bit the wrong way. It's supposed to go outside and I put it inside. Oh well, I just have to wear my hair open or somehow down my back so that people don't notice it that well. And mine turned out a bit shorter than what I expected from the pattern photos. So I've been sort of hanging this on a hanger in hopes that the weight of it would sort of drag it down a bit and make it longer, and I think it's working. I really like this finished object and I'm looking forward to wearing it. But like I mentioned while I showed it to you as a work in progress, I really did not enjoy knitting with chunky yarn and large needles. And I did that in 8mm needles, and then the edging was done in 6mm needles. But it really hurt my hands. When I was done with that, I just couldn't knit for the rest of the day because my wrists were so sore. I think in the end, the thick needles, the thick yarn, and the heavy fabric was just too much. The yarn that I used, I have one ball left over, I had 10. It's this Jaeger extra fine merino chunky. Never used this yarn before. This is 100% merino wool. It comes in 50-gram skeins. And does this say how much does each skein have? It does not tell you that. Well, anyway, chunky yarn, so not that much yardage in one 50-gram skein. So I used 9 for that, so there were a lot of ends to weave in. But the yarn feels lovely, looks lovely. The color is a dark, very dark teal, or a peacock blue maybe. So anyway, looking forward to wearing that, and if something happens to it, if it gets pilly or fuzzy in the first wear, I'll let you know. But while knitting, it functioned very well. But yeah, next time I'm thinking of casting on something chunky with big needles, just remind me that it hurts. I think I could do a hat or something small like that, but large garments, Aran weight is, I think, the thickest that I'm comfortable knitting with, because I want to enjoy knitting. It's not supposed to be something that brings me pain, or anyone pain really. And then one reason that the other works in progress didn't really get much progress is that I just had this urge to cast on a lot of tiny things. One is this. Molly of the Homespun House was knitting this hat for her older daughter, and I think she finished that, but then it was more suited in size to her younger daughter, so then she started making another one for her oldest. And I thought the pattern looked really nice, and the way that she explained it, and that I now know, is that it's super stretchy, so it could fit a small baby hat and then stretch up as the baby grows into a toddler. So a lot of wear out of one hat. And so I just had to try that one. She didn't remember what the pattern was called, so I went and searched for it, and I think this is the one she used. This is called Colored Pixie, and it's by Trude. I did this out of Madelinetosh DK, and the colorway is called Sequoia. I don't know how to pronounce that. I think this used about 30 to 40 grams, so perfect for odd ends. And since I have a lot of friends and family members that are expecting new arrivals this spring, I decided to not wait until the announcement came that it's born, but instead do these sort of unisex patterns, so that I have something to send immediately when a new baby is born. So you might see a few more of these hats in future episodes. I did this in one evening, so if you're looking for a quick baby knit, then that would be my recommendation. The pattern is free. The actual pattern is not in English. It's available in 2 languages. Now I cannot remember what they were, Norwegian maybe, and something else. But then someone has sort of translated the pattern into English in the notes section. So if you go to the pattern and then look at the comments, you'll see the English directions there that I followed. Now I don't have any babies to sort of size it up to, so I hope the neck part and everything works out well. And the only thing that I did different to what, I don't know what the actual pattern says, but different to the notes was, the translation was that at the end of each row I sort of slicked a stitch to make the edging just a bit neater. But none of the you can't really do anything for the edging, you know, crochet or I-cord or something, because it needs to be stretchy, so you can't have anything sort of holding it in place. And then for some reason, why not, I knitted 2 small stuffed what do you call these, ornaments. This is the Bluebird of Happiness by Sara Elizabeth Kellner, which a lot of podcasters have done, and I've always thought that they look really, really cute. So I knit one for myself. There are actually several places in our home that I could envisage having sort of knitted ornaments, either hanging in a thread vertically, maybe 2, or then the bunting style. But I don't know yet where I want to put them and how, so I just thought I'll start knitting the ornaments. And this one is out of leftovers Lorna's Laces Shepherd Worsted in the Winter is Coming colorway, and that's a reference to Game of Thrones. And I used the yarn originally to knit my partner hat and mittens. So now I have something for myself as well. Well, it's for all of us really, since it's going to be in our house. And then this tiny heart pattern, which I for some reason did not write down what it was and by whom, so I'll put it in the show notes. But just sort of getting into the Valentine's Day mood. Yeah, this pattern, the Sara Elizabeth Kellner, the designer, she has a lot of knitted toys, bigger and smaller patterns for those. Some are free, some are paid for. I've done this one, and then I did the Henry's Rabbit pattern for a friend's daughter for Christmas, and I think I showed that in episode 2 or 3. Both patterns have been really well written and easy to follow and produced a good product. And there are several others that I favorited for future use. I think some of them will be, sorry, I stopped fiddling my hair. Some of them will be for future gifts, and I think some of them I'll just even knit for myself, because who doesn't love knitted soft toys? Well, every couch or bed could well do with one. Alright, so that's about what I've been doing, works in progress, finished objects. I've done a bit of sewing. If you follow me on Instagram, you've seen I've done the race skirt. I've actually done 2 of them, but I'll show you them when they're both finished. The other one still, I need to hem it. And then I've spun a bit more on that fiber that I showed you last episode. But again, not enough progress to make it worthwhile to show it to you. So I'll finish that fiber and then show you the end result. But I do have stash acquisitions this month. Firstly, I ordered 4 skeins of Gilead by De Rerum Natura. This is a French yarn, so apologies if my pronunciation, like it probably is really wrong. The colorway name is Gulland, and it's this really lovely, nearly solid pale gray. Almost, you can almost say that this is natural sheep wool. So it's not variegated, but it's not solid. I don't know if you can pick it up. But anyway, 4 skeins of this. I think this is worsted weight. This 100-gram ball has 250 meters, and I got 4 of these, like I said, and I got these for a specific pattern. I'm going to do the Kira sweater by Isabel Kramer. I like a lot of Isabel Kramer's patterns. I have a bunch of them queued up, but I've never knit any. So now that I saw the Kira pattern, I think it's quite new since it popped up in my recommended to you patterns on Ravelry, and it was made for this yarn, and this yarn is something that I wanted to try for a while now. So I thought, perfect match, designer, pattern, and the yarn. So we'll see. I'll probably cast on that sweater soon. Then what else have I got? If you follow my Instagram, you've already seen these two, because I just couldn't resist these. The first one, which is why I placed the order in the first place, is that I saw this yarn in the Spicy Homemaker podcast. Melissa had this as one option for a prize in a giveaway. When I saw this yarn on her podcast, I immediately thought I like that colorway. And then she said the name. The name of the colorway is Helsinki. Helsinki. Sorry, I keep doing that all the time. So I was like, yarn named after my home city. I have to have it. So even though I entered the giveaway, I just went ahead, found the Etsy shop and ordered one skein for myself. So this is by Destination Yarn, and they have a lot of nice hand-dyed yarn inspired by travel. So you can go find if they have yarn of your home city or your favorite city. This is their postcard base. It's fingering weight, 75 superwash merino wool and 25 nylon, so soft yarn. It has 463 yards. Yeah, 463 yards. And this one, I think it reminds me of Helsinki in a nice sunny winter day. So it has white, gray, and then it's really icy mint greens and icy turquoise, very pale light colors. I really love it. And there's never any point of ordering just one skein, is there? So I got another one, and this one, can you guess what it is? It's London, which is my favorite city. I like a lot of places in this world, in our planet. I love traveling, but I think London is my favorite city. I've been there, I don't even remember how many times, but I've been there a lot, and I never get bored of it. Whenever I come home, every time I come home, I already start planning my next trip. I want to go there again. I need to go see that. Oh, I didn't get to go to that place this time, next time. So I just have this continuous list of things to do in London. And it's not too far from Helsinki, and you get pretty good. Plane tickets aren't that expensive, so you can get pretty good deals on those. So this is the same postcard based, and these will both be socks for me. My socks use about 60 to 70 grams, so there'll be some left over, maybe for my son or for mini skein swaps. But that's not all. I also got this. This is by Maylin of Chateau, and this one is Aran Merino Superwash, 100 grams. This one is actually 110, I measured. In 100 grams has 166 meters and 181 yards. And the colorway is called Centurion, and it's inspired by Battlestar Galactica, which is one of my favorite sci-fi shows. She originally dyed these Battlestar Galactica colors, I think almost 2 years ago now, and now during December she had a sort of clear out of her studio, and she had one more skein of this on sale. so I had to get it. I knit hat out of the one that I got back then, and lately I've realized that I just pair sort of patterns and yarns. So I like this yarn, that would go well with that hat, this would make great mittens, this a shawl. And one morning when I went to work and I took off all my layers of knitwear, I realized I had blue and silver hat, black and purple shawl or scarf, orangey mittens, those ones that I showed here out of the hedgehog fibers yarn, which is gorgeous. And then I had pink and dark gray leg warmers because I was wearing a dress that day. And I just looked at the pile of knitwear there and it's like, I adore each one of these, but they just don't match. And I really need to, I want to start focusing more on having sort of sets. Not necessarily that every time I wear a certain hat, I wear a certain pair of mittens, but something that's more matchy-matchy. I definitely should just do gray and black. They would go with everything. But yeah. So now I have this, and this will make a pair of mittens, and then there'll be some left over, and maybe I'll do, if I find a nice pattern for an Aran weight scarf or shawl, then I'll pick one of these colors, maybe this gray, use that, and the leftovers of this to make a scarf or a shawl to wear with those. So yeah, justified purchase, I think. But then there's this huge gain. This one has 310 grams of sport alpaca silk. Now that is 80% superfine alpaca and 20% silk, and 100 grams has 262 meters and 286 yards. So that's sport weight, and there's lots of it. I don't really know how to use alpaca. I've had some before and I definitely love how it feels. It's really soft and I know it's super warm. But the alpaca yarns that I've had before have always shed really a lot. Like I had the hat that I showed you, I think in the first episode of this year, 7, something, in the blue Into Trees hat with the pom-poms. Now the pom-poms, the white ones, were from white alpaca yarn, 100% alpaca yarn, and I have a black wool winter coat. Now every time I wear that hat with that coat, the coat has sort of white fuzz all over it. So ever since then I've sort of stayed away from alpaca, but this color was so gorgeous. And I know Maylin's yarn is very high quality, and I know a lot of people love alpaca, so I decided to give it a go. The only thing is, I'm not really sure what to knit with this, so I got this huge 310 gram skein of alpaca, and I don't know what to do with it. So I have some ideas, but if you have any pattern suggestions, I would like to use most of this in one project. So that's about 900 meters, 900 meters, 900 yards, somewhere along those lines. And this is sort of a gradient type. This was originally more blue and it's been overdyed to give this this really gorgeous teal color. Not doesn't show any better, it's better here. So I imagine one part is more darker and then it goes into a lighter one. I think there you can see the difference in color. This is the lighter and this is the darker part. So yeah, any ideas? What would you knit from this? I would love to hear. So then I can start pairing it up with possible patterns because I love it. I love the color. It's really nice. But yes, now we've done a lot of chatting. I've shown you what I've worked on and I've shown you what I've bought. So I think it's time to wrap this up. Before, just tiny last minute announcements. So next week when I podcast, it'll already be February and we'll start the finishing February Knit-along. And that is something that I'm hosting with Gina from Brownie Knits. If you haven't checked her podcast, please do. She's a darling, really cheery and positive and has a lot of lovely projects going on. She'll be hosting this knit along with me, so pick a whip or a few whips from that you've started before 2016. Finish them, post a picture on my thread and on her thread, and you have 2 chances of winning prizes. Gina also has a year-long knit along called Stash Down 2016. So basically by finishing a work in progress, you can enter it also on that Stash Down cal. So you have 3 chances of winning with just finishing just one of your old, poor, neglected works in progress. I'm sorry, I mean mine. I know yours might not be neglected or poor, but I do feel sorry for mine. Anyway, the whole idea was that I have too many works in progress at the moment. I like to have 3 or 4 or 5 maximum in rotation, because I do like to switch things up, but I don't like to have things hanging around, and now I have too many of those. So I need to, so that's where the idea came from. I want to finish my works in progress so I can enjoy my knitting more in the months to come later this year. And there's been a lot of interest in this knit along, which is really nice, because I think the more people we have, the more sort of encouragement and cheering on is going to happen, and that'll help us get more done, and that'll make us feel even more better. Okay, so I'll put the thread up there with all the rules and all the prizes, hopefully tomorrow, but during this week anyway, so you can start chatting and planning and sharing your with pictures. And the prizes for from the finished objects, I'm going to be drawing one winner for these 2 skeins of yarns, and these are by Handu, and she's a Finnish, or the person behind this is a Finnish indie dyer, and like I've mentioned before, these yarns are really local to me yarns. The sheep live here in the southern Finland, the spinnery is here in southern Finland, and the dyer is here in southern Finland. So this isn't the softest yarn, so I wouldn't maybe do a baby thing from this, but color work, mittens and hats, why not? But something a bit different maybe to those of you outside of Finland, and I know a lot of Finns like these, so I hope if they win, they like these. And then I'll be drawing a winner just from the chatter, and that'll also be a pattern of choice. So any Ravelry download pattern basically. So you don't even have to finish everything. Of course, you don't have to finish anything to be able to win. And yes, during March there'll be other fibery funds, things with Amy from Bohemia Fibers and a new cal starting that I'll be mulling over on what to exactly do it and how to do it. But that's it. That's all for this week. Hope to see you next week. If you like the podcast and don't want to miss any, please subscribe on YouTube. And like I said, feel free to contact me in any way possible, and of course you're welcome to follow me on Instagram. See you next week and have a happy week. Bye.